Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
Do you know it on a hump day edition? If it's hump day, it means we are at Twin Peaks. You fill that in any way you want. Hump day edition, the Young and Norvelle Show. Getting it on before Thanksgiving. Man, they've got a lot of stuff going on. Crowd coming in. I know a lot of you folks have people from out of town coming in, and there's a good chance that some of your people coming from out of town. Well, where they are from, they don't have a Twin Peaks. They're everywhere all over the country, but not everywhere. So you cannot go wrong. Load up your group and get them over to Twin Peaks sometime this holiday weekend, this holiday season. You'll be the man. I promise you that. The Twin Peaks girls are out and about right now, taking care of everybody with the great Twin Peaks hospitality, 29-degree draft beer, all kinds of stuff going on, including holiday bonus gift cards all the way through the 24th of December. Great stocking stuffer. They've got merchandise on sale. A lot going on, I'll tell you, right here in my hand. All the stuff going on. November and December specials here at Twin Peaks. Terry Norvelle sitting right here having a big time. We got a lot to cover. The college football playoff most recent poll came out. It doesn't matter, but it does matter. We kind of get an idea of what the committee is thinking. We'll go over that. Who kind of benefited? Who did not benefit from the most recent poll that was unveiled last night. We'll talk to Brent Beard a little bit later with some college football news and notes. I want to do a little college basketball look ahead. I think we've got Patrick on, and Pat doesn't mind. Man, there are a couple teams that are really making early season moves. Auburn has had a great first couple of weeks of the basketball season. UConn, the two-time defending champions, they're on a 2-game losing streak, albeit to good teams and by short margins. But college basketball, I want to at least touch on some stuff that's happening. Alabama's had a good start. Auburn's had a good start. Kentucky's had a big win. We'll talk a little bit of college basketball. Not a lot out of Jaguars camp right now. Nothing really definitive on Trevor Lawrence. Will he play? Will he not play Sunday? Will they shut him down? We'll try and pick out some NFL news and notes, and we'll look back at some of our picks that we had this past weekend. Boy, Patrick Young, Zach Rothrock, Terry Norvelle, we all got roughed up in our individual picks. We'll go over those a little bit later. And, of course, if it's Wednesday, that means it is time to talk some sports medicine with Dr. Aaron Bates in the 5 o'clock hour, our sports medicine segment, of course, sponsored by Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Zach, I'm not sure. Did you say we do have Patrick? Patrick?
No, I don't know. We don't have Patrick.
Not yet. Hey, Zach, not picking at you, but big news from the world of women's basketball. South Carolina, Dawn Staley, the big dominant team, they I don't know if this really matters. It may even be a blessing in disguise. South Carolina had their 43-game, man, that's a lot of games to win in a row, 43-game winning streak. It was snapped. Now, they had to go way out to California to Pauley Pavilion. The UCLA women beat Dawn Staley. I didn't see the score. Was it a close game? Do you know? Or
yeah, I think they only lost by like 8 points or so. But yeah, like you say, it's good to just go ahead. I mean, there's a lot of pressure with the undefeated season. Like last year, they handled not only completing an undefeated season, but also knocking off Michael Jordan, Caitlin Clark in the finals.
Exactly.
So yeah, they were able. I mean, it is probably good. I mean, credit Iowa State. They must be a really good a ball club. They must be able to handle the shoot well. I guess I don't know. I don't really know much about them honestly. But yeah.
But it was funny. We were talking about winning streaks last week. I remember. I don't know if it was UCLA men or somehow we were talking about winning streaks.
Oh yeah.
And then gosh, who was it? Somebody had. Oh, I know what it was. Gino Auriemma.
Yeah,
UConn,
he broke the record.
The all-time winning streak.
Yeah.
And in his illustrious career, he's won 11 national titles. He had two separate 111-game winning streak and a separate 98-game winning streak. And we were talking about how, that's good and bad for the game of basketball. UConn, Tennessee, South Carolina recently, one or two more have dominated women's college basketball to the point where sometimes it's unwatchable. I mean, the imbalance makes it unwatchable because you'll have UConn. They'll go stretches where they win 15 in a row by an average of 35 points. I mean, that's hardly watchable,
Yeah, I mean, some people just like to watch dynasties, so I guess there's also that part of it. But I would imagine that by and large, with the NIL and transfer portal, like within any sport, I think that there's going to be more of a even distribution of talent across all the sports. So I think we're going to start seeing stuff like that happen less. I think we're going to see
and
like less of these imperfect.
That is not good for any sport. I don't care what the sport is. If you have 6 dominant programs and 100 just spin their wheel program, that's not good. I don't care if it's women's golf, men's basketball, football. It's just not good as a whole. Not good as a whole. Zach, did you watch the? Not that it matters because a week from Sunday is the only one that 2 weeks from Sunday is the only one that matters. Did you watch the latest college football poll reveal? And if you did, what did you think?
Yeah, I can't get myself to watch their entire song and dance. I mean, I did kind of see the result. I mean, I saw that they got the Gamecocks 15 with Clemson 12, so that kind of feels like it's the biggest of that game. It's strange that game's got bigger implications, it feels like, than the Alabama and Auburn game. I thought that's never been the case. Or it's been a really long time since it's been the case, at least. It's basically just Auburn having a chance to play spoiler in that game. But yeah, it's good to. I mean, I think that this has been the most it's been said before, but I think there was a consensus that this college football season was going to be boring with the expanded playoff, and how the games weren't going to quote matter as much.
Yeah.
But I mean, it feels to me like it's been the most. The most games are going to matter this week during the rivalry week that I can remember ever being the case.
I really don't think, and I hear you. There was a loud group that said, "Man, this expanded playoff is going to render the regular season rivalry games, which college football is built on, it's going to render them meaningless." I couldn't disagree more. I don't think, and I'm looking at the poll from last night, just bouncing around. Oregon, Ohio State, that game was huge early in the year. They're both making the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
1 and 2. That was huge. Texas, Oklahoma was as huge as it always is. Texas, Georgia, they both are going to make the playoffs. When they played in Austin, that game was monumental. On and on and on, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. That game did not take any less precedence because there's a good chance they're going to both be in the playoff. That thing was as passionate as ever. Hell, the Iron Bowl coming up, as passionate as ever. Florida State.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the playoff is taken away from the rivalries at all, and I did not buy into that. I didn't think.
If anything's added to them.
Yeah.
Now, something I saw from the result of that show that I didn't really like, and I hope that maybe when they do the final results, it's different. But they had where the seedings were arranged in a way where Georgia would be playing Tennessee, and Penn State would be playing Indiana. I don't like that because the whole fun of this third round or this expanded playoff is to get the home and home and get these unique matchups and unique venues, and that would just be the same old show we've been seeing for years.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would prefer Georgia, Tennessee not play their first game against each other because they've already played. What was the other one you said? Penn State, Indiana. Well, at least they didn't play during the regular season, but they're in the same conference. I would prefer that not happen. But you know what? On occasion, it happens in the NFL. I mean, on occasion, you will have, and I'm just pulling one out, but I know it's happened before. You'll have the Cowboys and Giants play twice because they're in the same division, and then they'll meet in the playoffs. They'll play 3 damn times. That's happened.
Yeah.
Some of it's unavoidable. The one thing that I have an issue with right now with the college football reveal is I keep hearing and reading the fact that one of the main criteria is strength of schedule, but I'm not sure I see that implemented. They talk about strength of schedule, but until I see, I look at right now, Notre Dame is 5th. They cannot get a bye because they're not in a conference, but they can host.
Yeah.
If you ask me, the schedule Notre Dame has played has been so weak, I don't see how you can reward them with even a host game. I think Notre Dame, because they're scheduled, it's almost like I said yesterday. I said, hey, if you put into law that your state has an electric chair for a penalty, right? If you are subject to the electric chair, well, at some point you got to put somebody in the chair to make it have any teeth. You see where I'm going with that, Zach? If you keep saying strength of schedule matters, but you never punish a team for having a terrible strength of schedule, then it has no teeth. And you look at Notre Dame, how they could actually host a game in the first round with that schedule, to me says strength of schedule is on the piece of paper, but they don't back it up. You could say the same with Penn State. Penn State is 4th in the country. They're going to get a bye probably. They may get a bye. Even if they're not going to go to their championship game. They still may get a bye. It would be hard to.
I think you have to win the championship to get a bye.
Yeah.
Only
Actually, you're right. If Penn State, but Penn State could easily host, just like Notre Dame. They could host. I don't think the schedule Penn State's played deserves a host. If they get in, I think Penn State and Notre Dame should be 10 and 11, not 5, 6, 7, 8 get the host. If you truly say strength of schedule matters, you can't keep rewarding these teams. Notre Dame plays nobody. Have you seen their schedules, Zach? It's unbelievably weak.
Oh yeah, I mean, then they had the loss to Northwestern. I've heard people argue that potentially should count for
Northern
2 losses.
Northern
Illinois. Sorry, yeah, lower on the totem pole.
Yeah,
I've heard people say that should potentially count for 2 losses. That's the thing. I don't really know how you weigh these things. I know there used to be this thing called the BCS, where there was a formula for this. Maybe we should potentially go back to that for figuring out this playoff. But yeah, like how you compared it to the NFL, how those matchups happen. But that's based on like a formula. Like they have tiebreakers and there's things that go places. This is politics. This is all subjective.
And then you look at the poll that came out last night. Indiana is 10. So Indiana is in the playoff right now. If it ended right now, they would get an at large. Now they would travel to a on campus.
Yeah, it had them going to Penn State.
But if you're Indiana and you start throwing that strength of schedule, is it really a criteria or not? Indiana, 1 loss. They've only played one decent. They got beat pretty bad by Ohio State. Indiana, outside of Ohio State, has played nobody. Does Indiana deserve a spot in with 1 loss more than Alabama deserves to not be in with 3 losses? Ole Miss, 3 losses. South Carolina has played a much tougher schedule than Indiana. If you swap schedules, I mean, so until you actually punish somebody, then why do you have strength of schedule in there? It looks good on paper, but they don't. To me, they never, Zach, use it. Does that make sense? I don't think they ever use it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I honestly agree with your take, and I think the SEC teams are superior. But I mean, I'm just like looking at it from the other side, though. It's almost hard. Like how do you prove that? Like they cannibalize each other. And how can you prove they're not just all mediocre?
I get it. When you look at Indiana on the surface, 11-1, which is what they're going to finish. They play like Purdue. They're going to beat Purdue. 11-1, Indiana, Big Ten. 8-3 Alabama, 8-3 South Carolina, 8-3 Ole Miss, 9-3. If they're all going to, let's say they all win, it's still 9-3 doesn't look as good as 11-1. But if you peel the onion back, you go, wait a minute. There's only 2 games difference between a 1-loss season and a 3-loss season, right? If you peel the onion back, you go, well, wait a minute. One or two of South Carolina's losses, or one or two of Ole Miss's losses or one or two of Alabama's losses, why are we punishing them for playing good teams versus Indiana's schedule? They play one really good team and they got it handed to them, right? They got it handed to them. Ohio State. Alabama, they've got a quasi-ugly loss or two, but they also have a big win over Georgia. I mean, Alabama beating Georgia. That's a big win, right? Georgia's going to be in the top 4. They went and beat Georgia. Indiana can't say that about anybody. Anybody. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and just I haven't watched that much Indiana, but I did watch their game against Ohio State, and I just feel like they would have a hard time crossing the 50 very many times against a lot of these SEC teams. I think I just think that they would get it handed to them. I think that they would be about. Yeah. I feel like if you throw them in the SEC, they would have a season about like how Auburn's had, like maybe pull off an upset or two, but it's not anything like what they're doing now.
And we'll take a break, come back, and bring Brent Beard on. Now, that doesn't mean that yesterday's reveal is in stone. And what I mean by that is we've got a bunch of games coming up. Some of them are Thursday, some of them Friday, some of them Saturday in college football. Using Indiana, they play Purdue. There's nothing Indiana can do to wow the committee playing Purdue.
Yeah, Alabama down.
Alabama could go out. Alabama could go out and get a win over a pretty good Auburn team that just pulled an upset. South Carolina could go out and get a win over Clemson. Ole Miss could go out and get one more win, right? So they've got technically 2 more weeks to right their wrong, and they may, because keep in mind, Zach, that poll that got revealed last night, that means absolutely nothing. It's 2 weeks from Sunday is the one that matters. They could right it.
Oh yeah, it's all going to change.
They could right their wrong. They really could. All right, let's take our first break here. We're cruising off and running. Holiday festive day here inside Twin Peaks. We're at the intersection of Atlantic and Kernan. If you don't know where we're at, the Twin Peaks girls all over taking good hospitality, offering good hospitality for you and your guests. If you want to come by, eat some dinner, just relax, watch some ball. Great sports watching the next several days all the way through, gosh darn, through Sunday with the NFL. We'll talk about everything coming up here at Twin Peaks when we come back. One down, a long way to go on a Wednesday. Terry Norvelle, Brent Beard when we come back on the Young and Norvelle Show.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
All right, let's welcome Brent Beard to the show. Obviously, one of our wonderful contributors, consistent contributors. Brent, one of the better college sports analysts. I say sports, college football, college basketball are his specialties. Glad to have you, Brent.
Absolutely, man.
You mentioned, I think today's Wednesday, right? Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
It's a blur.
Yeah, quick programming note. Obviously, we're all off tomorrow. Everybody should go celebrate and enjoy some family time and enjoy the holiday. But no, our Young and Norvelle show, we are live on Friday. We are at Bricks Jax Beach this Friday,
right.
4 to 6, happy hour, normal show. And man, I always enjoy those shows because we'll have ball going on live while we're on the air, and we'll lead right into Georgia Tech, Georgia, Friday night.
Yeah,
so what do we have? We have the Egg Bowl 3:30 Friday.
Yes.
We're on the air 4 to 6.
Right.
So we'll be watching that game,
Yeah, absolutely.
broadcasting our show, and then leading into Tech, Georgia. I think that's going to be a good game, Brent. I think Georgia Tech will hang around in that game.
The way Tech is playing, and as we like to say, Tech will 3 and 4 yards you to death into a 17-play drive that takes 8 minutes. And that's really tough to stop. But Terry, it is. It's a great time of year. Everybody needs tomorrow off. It's hard to be off Friday before all these rivalry games.
Really is. It really is. Speaking of Georgia Tech, if you really get in the Wayback Machine, they got it all started. Georgia Tech and Florida State played that first weekend, right?
Yeah.
That was week 0, wasn't it?
Yes.
In Ireland.
Yeah,
and damn if Georgia Tech didn't upset. I don't know if it's an upset now, but at the time, Georgia Tech kicked off the college football season with an upset win over Florida State, and all hell has ensued since.
Can you imagine being a Tech fan? I don't think this is going to happen, but they beat FSU, they beat Miami. And if they beat Georgia, they better have a parade up there.
How about that? They're going to a bowl game. Brent Key's done a nice job there.
He really has.
He's done a nice job. Right now, if you're Georgia Tech, you go, can we keep our coach?
Yes.
I mean, Georgia Tech is that type of school. I think you can have success every 3-4 years. You can have a couple years, right?
Yeah,
I don't think it's sustained.
Right.
Don't you think his phone's starting to ring?
Sure it is.
Brent Key with the jobs about to open. By the way, Mac Brown gets let go. We saw that coming. I think you agree with me. I've always thought if the right guy gets in place, North Carolina should be able to win in football.
Agreed.
And when I say win, 10, 11 games
a year.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
consistently.
congrats to Mac for what he did.
I like him a lot.
Mac, what North Carolina people told me, Mac was in place to be a fundraiser.
Yes.
I mean, that's basically what he did.
To stabilize the program, get it back on strong foot. And he did. I mean, he did.
But Terry, Mac didn't read the tea leaves when to go.
Yeah. Should have left a year or two ago.
He should have.
Should have left. But I've always thought the right guy, and who have they had there? They was Fedora there?
Larry Fedora
was there. And I thought he might be the guy.
I did too.
Mac's first go around, he had it going, and he outgrew it. You know, Texas comes calling, you go, and I've always thought North Carolina, if they could get the right guy, and it's easier said than done, but they could get the right guy, I think they could win in the double-digit range 3 of every 4 years. They should go win 10 games.
North Carolina is on the SEC radar for expansion.
And you could see why.
There's no question.
You could see why.
And look, obviously they're getting basketball. They're and you may have played against them. They're pretty good in baseball.
Oh, they're real good in baseball. I mean, they are a perennial threat to Omaha.
Yes,
I mean, they're really good in baseball.
Yes.
Mike Fox has been there forever and was there forever and really good. As much as all that is great, they're also what the SEC loves, what the Big Ten. They are the state university.
Yeah, they are.
They are the University of North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
No disrespect to NC State,
right.
But you know what? Ohio State is the school in Ohio, right?
They are.
Florida is the school here. Alabama is the school in Alabama.
Texas,
no disrespect to Auburn or Texas Tech or Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Texas is it, right?
Yes.
North Carolina is the big boy. They are deep roots.
Yes.
They have money. They're deep Southern roots.
Right.
Oh, they are a perfect fit. North Carolina, and people hear what I say because there's a lot more than just football. North Carolina, way more than Clemson. If you said, Terry, you can have one of these two in the SEC for perpetuity.
Yeah.
Clemson, well, damn, they've won national title. That's great. I would take North Carolina 50 times in 50 chances over Clemson.
And if you
for the whole, right?
Yeah, right. And if you get North Carolina, you're bringing Virginia or Duke with you.
Yeah. Now, because Zach Rothrock may pull the plug, we got to say South Carolina is the school in South Carolina.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Of course we
How
do.
about we were messing around, Zach and I, segment number 1. Last night's latest poll came out. There's some stuff to read. There's a little bit of a yin and a yang. South Carolina's hanging around. Look at South Carolina.
They are.
A couple of 3 or 4 upsets. And if they could knock off Clemson.
Oh, yeah. Look, even A&M.
A&M's hanging around.
At 20. Now, look where Texas is.
Yeah.
If you beat.
Well,
if you beat Texas.
Yeah.
You know good well you've got to go up. What?
Are you saying A&M beats Texas, shoots way up the board, which they would, if they lost a barn burner in Atlanta to Georgia, could they still get in? They might with 3.
That's what we don't know.
You go knock those guys off. Did you have anything that jumped out? I'll lead off, but last night's reveal, and we've got it 1 through 25 here. We don't have to go through all of them, but 1 through 25. The thing that's starting to bug me a little bit is when I see the criteria, this and this and this and this, and the committee looks at this and this, either you have to start implementing strength of schedule or take it out. Right?
I agree.
And I've used the bad analogy, but I'll use it again. It's wonderful to have on your books, the law of the land says this state has the electric chair, the death penalty as punishment. Well, that's one thing having it on the books, but unless you use it a little bit, is it really a detriment? Is it a deterrent?
Well,
with strength of schedule, until you bust somebody's ass and say, Penn State, I'm sorry. Notre Dame, I'm sorry. Until you bust somebody's ass, Indiana, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Why even have it? Am I overreading strength of schedule?
No, because if you're going to have it and it means something, Indiana, even with 1 loss to Ohio State and only 1 loss, that's a problem. I mean, Indiana's strength schedule is at 105.
It's god awful. Notre Dame is going to get in. They're going to beat USC. They have probably, unless A&M upsets Texas, their biggest wins over A&M, which will be a 4-loss team. Notre Dame not only is not going to get punished, they're going to host a first-round game with that schedule. That is ludicrous.
It is.
Why not just take the schedule? If you're not going to use it, take it out.
Now, Southern Cal's made a change at quarterback, and there's some thought that Southern Cal could beat them.
They'd still get in, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Would they still get in?
Probably so. I mean, it obviously Notre Dame's not going to have a conference championship game, so does that hurt them at some point? Possibly. So I don't know. And you got the 3-3 teams from the SEC.
Yeah, sure.
Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina.
Sure.
But look, isn't this what they wanted?
Yes.
We're talking about this every day.
And we got 18 to 20 teams that you legitimately can talk about. Now, I will tip my hat to the committee a little bit, but I'm going to point out what I'm going to point out, but I think there's an asterisk by it. They did do 2-loss Georgia, 2-loss Tennessee above 1-loss SMU, 1-loss Indiana.
Right.
But I'm not so sure they did that as much as SMU is just not a big brand.
Correct.
Indiana is just not a big brand. I think they just, Georgia and Tennessee, I don't think they said, you know what I mean? I think they big branded those guys or little branded those guys behind them more than they said,
sure,
we've got to reward Georgia and Tennessee. That brand looks bigger than SMU. 2 losses versus 1 loss.
But see, to your point, even if Notre Dame loses to USC, they're probably still getting in, but because of the brand.
Absolutely.
And if Alabama gets in, if they beat Auburn, that's why they're going to get in, is you can guarantee in the playoffs, Notre Dame and Alabama are going to have 10 million viewers.
Eyeballs.
Absolutely.
Eyeballs.
You can guarantee that.
Last night, I don't know if you were like me, I watched it. There was a basketball game on that drug on and drug on and drug on. I'm like, okay, the Maui Invitation. By the way, I want to get to some college basketball. There's a lot of neat stuff going on. Alabama,
really
Auburn, Kentucky, UConn's losing a couple. But, man, I'm watching basketball last night, waiting on the reveal show. And when the basketball ended, they said, hey, we're going to do a quick abbreviated because they got into their time. The basketball got into the time. But the first shot nauseated me, and I don't know if it nauseated you. The first shot when Reese Davis was introducing, all right, time to get to this week. So we only have 2 more weeks left. Let's get right into the college football playoff reveal show. And they had a big pullback shot of the committee in the big boardroom with 40 computers on one side and 40. That nauseated me because that's what we've got to get away from. We don't need even if we had a committee, I don't want committees. We got to get rid of committees. I think they crunch too many. No, watch the freaking games and use your eyeballs to tell me who's better.
And there's not. Yes.
They crunch and double crunch and triple crunch. It nauseated me to see the committee in their big boardroom, and even though I think the committee knows the best for college football would be to have their playoff work like the NFL and it's settled by record, that committee wants to be useful.
Yeah,
I think they want to have their right.
Sure, they do. They don't want to show that they're wasting their time.
Yes,
by doing this, it's amusing that we're talking about this. I was listening to Chuck Oliver today, who does radio out of Atlanta.
Sure. He's real good. If you like Southern college football.
He does a regional show that is appointment radio, frankly. He was talking about the same thing. He said what eventually is going to happen is we're going to come up with the analytics, a formula to be able to figure this out with the 12 teams, which is going to 14 or 16. And at that point, we won't need the committee.
Yeah, the committee's got to go. That's the next step Well, bigger expansion is the next step, but the next step is college football's got to pare down to 60, whatever, get in divisions, and you've got to make it look like the NFL. The NFL doesn't have – nobody votes. Nobody meets. You know what?
Not.
The Cowboys and the Giants and the Raiders and the Chargers and the Ravens and the Dolphins. You know what they do? The Steelers and the Patriots, they play.
Yeah,
and they play.
absolutely.
And they play. And they have divisions. And they say if you win this division, there are wild cards, right? And I'm fine with wild cards in college. But there are built-in wild cards as well. But the NFL would disband before they said, we're going to have a committee of 28 people that chooses who goes to the playoff. That's ludicrous. But I'm telling you, that committee, they are going to keep their nails dug in as long as they can because they want to feel like they are college football.
Sure.
And they're not.
Well, I mean, if you're going to change anything on that committee, have less ADs and more football coaches on it.
Absolutely. We touched on Mac Brown. He won't be the last one.
No.
Certainly college football. I guess the Black Monday for college football is, I guess, Selection Sunday or the Monday after right there.
Some of it's going to be this coming Monday.
And some of it will happen, right? It'll happen soon. I think North Carolina's a nice job.
It is.
I think UCF will open up. I think Gus and UCF are going to shake hands.
And they're going to be
Do you agree with that?
They're going to have a losing season.
Yeah.
And this will be another typical Gus year, to where they lose anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 games. That might happen. Or Gus just might retire.
Yeah.
I mean, Gus is 60 now.
I agree with that. I think UCF opens. Decent job. State of Florida. Now they're in a major conference.
Right.
South Florida's going to make a bowl game. Does South Florida use this year to kind of close that gap? UCF got away from South. Remember, they were like this. The war on I-4, they were both not in the major conference. UCF, A, built an on-campus stadium.
Right.
B, got in a major conference. So they pulled away from South Florida. This year, it's reversed. South Florida is going to a bowl game. Will that help? Will that help South Florida? And they are building an on-campus. They are building. You know that, right? South Florida is building. Will that help South Florida close the gap a little bit?
Sure, it will.
You would think?
Yeah, absolutely. They, when UCF was doing well, they had Heupel there, and they had the Heupel. His offense was better at UCF than it's been at Tennessee.
Agreed.
Frankly, so that made it go. FAU, obviously, Tom Herman is gone.
Yeah, that's open.
I hear that they may get a pretty good coach there. Look, my first call would be to John Summerall, who is at Tulane.
He was a former assistant at Kentucky,
He
I
was.
think. Yeah, really well thought of at Kentucky.
And
that'd be a nice step for him.
And Terry, what's Kentucky going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, Kentucky's they're guaranteed a losing season.
It's stale.
That's unfortunate,
isn't it?
It has, and I don't know what they're going to come up with, and probably what Stoops wants to do with this too.
You may remember, if not, I'll remind you because it makes me look good. Early in the season, I said, guys, I'm almost sure it just feels like the Mike Gundy Oklahoma State thing is going to end. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Decent job. They have money.
Sure,
they have a lot of money. They still have that.
Yes, they
T.
do.
Boone, he's passed away. T. Boone Pickens.
Right.
Gundy never quite got there.
No,
that's a decent job. I think that job's going to open. Would you agree?
And people may forget, Gundy, not once, not twice, but 3 times, almost got the Tennessee job.
He flirted with it.
Sure did.
He flirted with it a lot. But I think that's another job. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones we talked about. UCF, Oklahoma State, Kentucky might. And I don't think Mark Stoops is done.
No.
I think it's just sometimes you need this.
Sure you do.
Sometimes you just need a shakeup.
You do.
Both parties, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Both parties.
But if he leaves, they would. I think they try to get a deal with Summerall very quickly.
Yeah. Summerall has done nice things as a head coach, but man, he was thought of so big at Kentucky.
Oh, he was
as an assistant coach.
Absolutely.
Kentucky's obviously it's in the SEC. Kentucky's not a terrible job. You're always going to be second fiddle to basketball. They have facilities. I've never been to Lexington. I've known a million people. They've recently put facilities. I mean, they have really nice facilities. Decent job. But the problem with Kentucky, you're knocking heads with Tennessee and Florida and Georgia and Alabama and Auburn.
let me throw this out and did a podcast this morning with Travis Reier. We do one weekly.
Okay.
He made an interesting point. We're talking about the Arkansas game, and he said, I noticed at the end of the last Arkansas game, looking at Pittman, he looked awful.
Really? I didn't see it.
Is that, and what he meant by that was Pittman now getting somewhat up in age.
Yeah.
And these older coaches, this has got to be a bear to do every day now, and having to deal with all they deal with. Now, they're going to a bowl.
Now, he could go out on top.
He sure could.
I mean, it's been a good year for Arkansas, hasn't it?
They can end up going 7-5 and win a bowl game and be 8-5, and he literally would be going out on top if he did that.
Not a bad job.
No.
Again, they want to win.
Not at all.
They
sure
want
do.
to win. They put money into it. Again, you're in the big bad SEC.
Yeah.
Not a bad job. I mean, a lot of people would answer the phone.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't they? And I don't know if they do anything with a bump up.
Right.
But I'll tell you the other job, and now this one has a coach in waiting, but this is a nice job. This coach, I almost wish would have left, even though he was happy where he was at. This coach I'm going to name, I wish he'd have left 10 years ago because I respect the hell out of this guy. He's going to make a decision within days. Kyle Whittingham at Utah.
Yes.
They've already named Morgan
yes.
Scalley. Morgan Scalley, the great defense coordinator, is the coach in waiting.
Yeah.
So it's not going to open up. But that's not a bad job.
No.
That's not a bad job.
No.
They go to the Big Ten. That's not a bad job.
They have got a system there.
They really do.
That's SEC-like.
They really do. And they know who they are.
Well,
They've
they
got
really
a system, and they know who they are. Don't you like that?
And their problem is bless his heart, their quarterbacks almost become a liability.
Yeah.
It is the problem, and they're trying to get him to come back for what, 6th, 7th year.
Yeah. Poor Cam Rising. He was one this year. He got hurt again. He was pretty much as healthy as he could get coming in. Got hurt again in the first third of the season.
Yeah.
They went through 3 starting quarterbacks out for the year.
Sure
This
did.
year, it was tough.
Right.
As we go to break, and I want to look at some college basketball. Some of the jobs we named, pretty marquee, SEC, not just SEC, but somebody. Kentucky might open. Arkansas might open. Oklahoma State, nice job. How about if you're SMU? Are you trembling in your boots? Are you trying to? You're trying to fight off your coach,
absolutely.
Brett Lashley.
Now, see, they've already, and I don't know if he signed it, but they've already given him an extension.
But you know
raise.
that's
they don't mean a whole
that's
lot.
as much as this piece of paper.
Look, I just thinking out loud here. I wonder if guys like Dave Doran at NC State could it be time for him to move on too?
I could see in Arkansas going to a Rhett Lashley if Pittman says, "Okay, and Pittman's done a nice job." I mean, he came in, took it. Arkansas has been a pain in the butt the last couple of years, right?
Yes.
But couldn't you see in Arkansas saying, "Hey, Rhett, come run that stuff here"?
Oh yeah,
come run that. That's a fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is a that's a fun offense. It's a fun offense, and you just don't think SMU can keep a ascending coach forever.
Well,
I
will say this: they got so much money there that if he leaves, it won't be because of money.
I spent some time in Dallas on some work and stuff, and was there for a while, weeks, and got talking to a lot of people, and man, there's money there. We got talking, and they were pointing out. I mean, SMU, all those Texas schools have money. Remember, we talked about. I mean, think about it. We talked about this the other week, and I actually misnamed the conference, the old Southwest, and I called it the Big 12. The old South. How big is the state of Texas, and how good? Remember the old Southwest? They had like 9 teams.
Oh yeah,
8 were in the state of Texas, and Arkansas was the only one. I mean, think about that. How?
Oh yeah,
you better be a big boy. Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Houston, SMU.
Yeah,
8 of the 9 were in the state of Texas during the heyday of the Southwest Conference.
Now Dave Aranda is going to come back to Baylor another year.
That surprised you? Surprised me a little bit.
Yes. Now, I like Aranda. I'll say this: Aranda, Aranda, as far as a D coordinator, almost has no peer.
No.
So,
and I think that's his position. I think he needs to get back to. I thought he'd lose the job this year. As we get a break, we'll come back. I want to talk some college basketball. But just I might have been riding down the road today or yesterday, and just kind of this was. I went, what? A tiny bit of talk. Marcus Freeman, NFL. Have you heard that at all? Marcus Freeman, NFL.
That must be agent driven.
I wonder, Marcus. But I mean, Notre Dame, if it opens up, I mean.
Oh, now that would change things considerably.
Yeah, Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, NFL.
And see, we don't know, and this is part of what we've been talking about, how many of these guys are just tired of it, and they've had all they can take. And we may get some surprises with that.
Could be. Let's take a break here. Come back, do a quick college basketball and look around. Man, a lot of stuff going. It gets buried. It gets buried this time of year. Great
and it's their own fault, too.
Yeah, it really is. Great basketball going on, and some teams, some SEC. Man, Auburn and Alabama have had hellacious 2 weeks. Really good 2 weeks. Tennessee, Kentucky has a big win. We'll talk some college basketball, and then top of the hour, second hour, sports medicine with Dr. Aaron Bates from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. It is a Hump Day Wednesday edition. The Young Norvelle Show continues right here, live from Twin Peaks at the intersection of Atlantic and Kernan.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jack's Beach.
Since 1936, Procter Ace has been proudly helping Jacks with all your home and garden projects. Whether you need tools, paint, plumbing supplies, or expert advice, we've got what you need to get the job done right. Looking to brighten your yard? Visit our garden center for plants, tools, and everything to make your outdoor space flourish. You're not just shopping here, you're part of our community. So come in today and let us help you tackle your next project with a smile. After all,
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Yeah! Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
Oh, good looking shot. Looks cold right there. Looks like it's going to snow. I don't think we've got snow in the horizon. Another warm day or so, and then it cools off as we welcome you back to a Wednesday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show here on Action Sports Jacks. Terry Norvelle, Brent Beard, Zach Rothrock producing. We'll talk some sports medicine in the second hour. That overhead shot, though, looked cold, looked like snow.
Well, it's coming this weekend.
We got Friday. It starts dipping Friday.
Yeah, it's near 30 at one point this weekend.
I think we're good through Thanksgiving, right? Decent.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving is going to be
tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be pretty warm.
Yeah, pretty warm, and then it drops off considerably for a while. I think we're going to have some cold weather. College basketball, it gets buried. Let's touch a little bit of college basketball. It gets buried this time of year, but just on the surface, man, some teams. Alabama's had 2 or 3 really good ranked wins. They beat teams. Auburn knocked off Iowa State. They Auburn's playing tonight against North Carolina in the Maui. Iowa State was ranked like 4th in the country. They knocked them off the other day.
Oh yeah.
They've got 2 or 3 highly ranked wins. Kentucky got Duke.
Yes.
The SEC is off and running, man.
If people didn't see the Alabama-Houston game last night, that was an absolute street fight.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense was unbelievable. They went to overtime. Alabama wins. But look, and Alabama plays North Carolina next week.
Yeah. Tennessee's had some nice wins.
Yeah.
I had some notes here. Memphis. How about Memphis plays Auburn tonight, finals of the Maui Invitational.
Right.
Memphis knocked off UConn, the back-to-back defending champions. UConn's lost 2 in a row, by the way, to good teams. Auburn's got wins over Houston and Iowa State. Kentucky beat Duke a week or so ago. Tennessee beat Baylor. Duke beat Arizona. Bama beat Illinois and Houston. Marquette has knocked off Purdue. Boy, the top of the SEC looks like it's going to be as tough as we thought.
Listen, let's talk about this Hurley situation. Listen, Terry, Hurley has been having to be drug off the court about to attack an official for
really
twice this week.
Really upset with some late season game calls.
Look, Terry, I get that, but at some point, how arrogant and entitled do you have to be when you're on the sidelines? I mean, for crying out loud, you've won 2 national championships in a row.
Yeah.
Can't you relax a little bit?
And these are I don't want to say preseason, but preseason
they are
tournaments, right? I mean, they count on your record and on, and you want to win these things. But I mean, these are kind of, you're in Maui or the Bahamas.
He's having to be restrained. It's ridiculous.
I have no reason to back this up, but I'm going to say it. Danny Hurley, the coach at UConn basketball, they've won back-to-back national championships. They're really good this year. He, to me, has got NBA written all over. He's going to he'll dip his toe in the NBA, right?
Will.
I don't know if he'll be successful, but
that ego will get him in the NBA at some point.
I think so. Also, last night, Patrick, when he's on the show, and we're talking college basketball, he likes to pick at, and I agree with him. He picks at Virginia basketball.
Right.
Virginia has historically, obviously, Tony Bennett, who just stepped aside, he won a title 5 or 6 years ago. They won a national title. He's a good coach. But Virginia, under Bennett, they play that grind it out.
Oh, yeah.
Every dribble, every possession. Last night, waiting on the college football show to come on, the game ahead of it was Memphis and Michigan State.
Right.
And I've always liked Tom Izzo, but man, do I have trouble watching Michigan State.
It's tough.
They grind every dribble of every possession is a grind.
It is.
With Tom Izzo's teams.
Yes.
And I mean, you watch 2.5 hours of Tom Izzo basketball and you're like, even if you're not a Michigan State fan.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're not. And listen, imagine if Michigan State played Virginia. Would that be 42-40?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness! But man, I'm watching Izzo, and Izzo's a Hall of Famer. He's great for the game. He stayed in college basketball.
He did.
He could have gone and dipped his toe.
Absolutely.
Probably would have failed because he's not. But he stayed with college basketball. He's been a great statesman. But man, he's one of those coaches that can grind a game.
He really can.
Just grind a basketball
and that's
game.
a lot of the problem. I had a college basketball broadcaster tell me, he said, I'm getting tired of this because these coaches they've got to control every dribble.
Yes.
Now I'll tell you this, we're watching Tom Crean up here. I tell you where Tom Crean needs to be is right there.
Yes.
He doesn't need to be coaching. He needs to be right there.
Tom Crean, who, by the way, he had Dwayne Wade at Marquette. Okay. He was at Indiana. Tom Crean, game day, sideline, can't coach his way out of a weight. Paper sack.
It's like Mike White at Georgia.
He can talk it. He's a terrible coach. You're so right. He needs to stay right there. Did you mention Florida plays tomorrow?
Yeah, they do. They sure do.
The Gators are good, man. The top of the SEC is real good. Let me look, and that's Thursday, right? That's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick peek. Florida, Wake Forest, 2:30. So that'll be wrapping up.
Yes.
Midday tomorrow. Think that's watchable.
It sure is.
Hell,
look. They've got Terry. They've got the Giants and the Cowboys. Would that be 3-2?
Whew. Yeah, that's your midday game.
Yeah. There'd be a lot of people taking naps during that game. I can assure you.
I will watch Florida Wake Forest football way over.
Oh yeah,
that middle game.
Lord.
Well, we got 3 games tomorrow, right? By the way, don't you hate the way college football knuckled under to the NFL? And I get it.
Yes.
There should be the Egg Bowl should still be Thursday night. I don't care if the Egg Bowl is opposite the third of 3 NFL games. At night. The Egg Bowl, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, is supposed to be 7:30.
Yes.
Thanksgiving night. It's supposed to be cold, either in Starkville or Oxford.
Right.
And I don't care what their records are, but you're supposed to be eating pumpkin pie and watching the Egg Bowl with a glass of milk.
And watch Sylvester Croom with a Mississippi State flag running up and down the field on. You remember that?
Yes. That's one of those. It just fit where it was at. Records be damned. I could care less what their records. But I mean, that was appointment TV.
It was
Thursday.
Absolutely, it was
Thanksgiving night. The Egg Bowl. What a shame. It's the next day.
Well, to your point, and listen, it's not like these Thursday night games aren't even on primetime TV anyway, are they? I mean it's what is Amazon or
I guess
or it's not Hulu, but it's streaming. So if you're on ESPN or whatever, what are you hurting?
I'm not so sure. I wouldn't make, and I don't think the NFL has the pull to tell the SEC or ACC or whatever. Man, if I'm a pro, I could name you 10 to 12, maybe 15 programs, SEC, Big Ten, ACC, that could benefit, even if you're opposite an NFL game.
Absolutely.
Thursday night TV.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who aren't going to watch the NFL.
And I get it. You're not going to grab Alabama. You're not going to go to Florida or Tennessee. I get it. But, man, if you're Kentucky football.
Oh, yeah.
If you are South Carolina football.
Yeah.
Jump all over a Thursday night game, Thanksgiving.
And by the way, again,
hell, that'd be a good game. Kentucky, South Carolina, every Thursday night, Thanksgiving.
Memphis plays Tulane. At what, like 6:30 or 7 tomorrow night?
Yeah,
that would be impressive.
Yeah, but those two aren't Power 4.
No,
if I'm a Power 4, I would play on Thursday night. Now, again, not the upper echelon.
Yeah,
I get it. Anyway, can you stick around? We'll talk some sports medicine with Dr. Bates after the top of the hour. We do it every Wednesday. One of our favorite segments here every week on the Young and Norvelle Show. We'll get to that on the other side as we kick off the second hour of the Young and Norvelle Show live from Twin Peaks at the intersection of Atlantic and Kernan.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's that cold weather shot. Looks like snow there. Brent Beard, sit down as we welcome you back, kicking off the second hour of the Young and Norvelle show coming to you from Twin Peaks. Did you see that shot? You keep missing the shot. Looks like snow.
No, I've seen that shot. That's a great sunset shot, by the way.
Santa's ordering up some snow here.
I'll tell you what, it may be cold enough this weekend where we may get some.
I've seen Santa around town. He knows he needs to get up north, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well,
he's down here messing around. Get up north, Santa.
I'm sure he's delegated a lot of that stuff.
I guess he has.
Frankly, so he'll be ready.
And being politically correct, Mrs. Claus has to do some work now, right? I mean, right? Got to give her some work now.
Yeah. And by the way, his Kindle said, Dad, I need a list, Dad. Have you heard that yet?
No, I haven't. I know we got Dr. Bates. We'll get right to him. But I'm having a little issue with this daughter of mine. She's
Oh.
moved out. Her and her boyfriend are very, very serious, and
left the dog.
Yeah, and that's fine. But normally, the last 5 or 6 years, she's been very easy to buy for because normally there's kind of it's been a concert. There's always some kind of big concert, One Direction or something. And Dad will just go in and buy two, even if it's in March or April. There's no concert, and she won't let me know what to buy her, and I just don't want to do the cash thing, even though cash is king, and she lives on her own.
She's not turning it down, is she?
Yeah, but she won't tell me what to buy her, and there's no concert coming down the pipe. And
well, maybe Dr. Bates has some answers.
Maybe I do. I think we got Dr. Bates here talking some sports medicine here, Doc. How the heck are you? Got issues with the daughter. I don't know what to get her for Christmas. She's almost 25 now. What do I get her, Doc?
Yeah, man. I got the same problem. I got three girls,
we all do.
3 of them, man.
Yeah. There's normally One Direction, or then she got into this K-pop or K-bop. There's this Korean. Did y'all hear about that? These Korean bands got real popular.
Korean boy bands.
Yeah. I could generally buy her 2 tickets to whatever the big concert is, and her and her girlfriend, but. She's dating the boyfriend now, so they're serious, and so there's no more of these boy crush bands, kind of, Doc. There's no boy crush bands, so
Beth Mowens, by the way,
there. Beth Mowens, sorry, Doc. Before we get into some sports medicine, Dr. Bates, of course, from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Towson State. I know Maryland took a loss, right? How Towson
they took a loss. Towson won. They finished the season 7-5. Not too bad.
No postseason at all. Is there a little bowl or anything to go to?
No. The FCS, they'll start their
playoffs.
This week. That's what it would have been if they would have won the conference. Yeah,
7-5 is not bad. I know one of the 5 was to Cincinnati. I mean, that's a Division One.
Another was to North Dakota State,
and North Dakota State, who's as good as anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not a bad year.
No,
it's not at all.
Not a bad year at all.
Respectable.
Yeah, really good for people that don't know. Doc played for Towson State, the Tigers. Doc, obviously, 3rd week in a row, we want to lead off, and Gator Nation wants to now, unbelievably, hear you say, with a full additional week. Lagway ran a little bit Saturday. He wasn't full go, you could tell, but he did stretch it out a little bit. Doc, being serious, with the hamstring, Lagway going into Saturday night's game in Tallahassee, barring a setback this week, how close would you think that hammy is? Now, he pulled it or whatever on November 2nd in Jacksonville. Today is the
Georgia, Florida.
Yeah, Georgia, Florida. So today's the 27th. What are we looking at? 3 full weeks going into 4. How close theoretically could he be to as close to 100% as he could get that thing?
Well, I think he's extremely close just based on the fact that he's played the last 2 weekends. And each time that he's playing now, you can see him run a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Each time, so he's getting more comfortable with it. Based on I guess they call it a grade 2 hamstring strain, like I said, it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to come back, and he's probably right around the 4th week now. So I would imagine he's pretty close to 100%.
What would UF's doctor, medical staff, what would they have him doing this week? Week 4, is he ultrasound? Is he massage? Is he hot, cold, ice, rice? What would he be doing?
I think all of that to reduce the inflammation in that area, but also keep him loose. Don't let the hamstring get too tight. Work on some core stuff. Also work on some stuff on the field. Some pivoting, cutting type things, drills, just to get him used to doing that. And so, if he gets into a game type situation where he needs to do that, he's already kind of done it on the field in a controlled environment.
Dr. Bates, after seeing this for with college football games over and over again, when a player gets hurt, they take him off the field and they go to the medical tent. Okay, I have first question, then I have follow up. First question is, what do they do in the tent? What is in there to help them examine what's your gut as far as what is there and what do they do in the tent?
So basically, the tent is just a cover to help us be able to talk to the athlete.
Yeah.
Kind of get the gist of where the pain is. What was the injury? What was the mechanism of injury? We couldn't see it. There's a lot of things going on at one time in the play, so we couldn't, we can't see 90% of the injuries.
Yeah.
And then do a good exam, whether that's an exam on a knee, a shoulder, a wrist, or hip, or whatever, without somebody peering down on you. And so the basic gist is to try to get, the immediate history of what happened, and then to get an evaluation so that we can get a diagnosis. And then from that diagnosis, determine, okay, whether they can continue to play. Do we have to sit them out? What else are we going to need to do to try to get them back on the field at some point?
Right.
Because we need to give the coaches a answer as to, okay, can somebody come back in?
Yeah.
Basically.
And, Doc and Brent, not that it was earth-shattering, an Albert Einstein decision, but putting a medical tent on the sideline hasn't always been the case. That's only been 10 years or so.
Or less.
I'm guessing maybe even less. But when Brent was asking that, Doc, the other thing that came to my mind is there's a time issue. Before there were tents on the sideline, to get a thorough, you'd have to walk or drive that all the way into the locker room. There's a time issue, right?
Yeah,
it's much more timely to get in there, like you said, get the prying eyes off. But you don't have to go unlock the locker room, get the player all the way. I think there's a time issue with that tent on the sideline.
Yeah,
isn't it odd that we didn't think to do that until about a decade ago?
Really?
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, I think but it does really help us, all the medical staff, kind of figure out what's going on. They can also, have some ice or some, athletic training modalities in there to give us a quick, cleat change or a taping of an ankle or a wrist or something like that, where the eyes aren't peering on you, and if they go back in, they go back in.
Yeah.
Let me follow up with that real quick. Okay, they've been in the tent, they've done the exam, and they see that they need more information or more treatment is needed, and then we see the guy either walking off or helping him off or whatever. What happens next? Where are they taking the player? And what's available in that locker room area or whatever that can help them further?
Well, it depends on what level we're talking about and what arena, what stadium we're in.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of the stadiums will have an X-ray machine, whether it's a portable X-ray or just a regular X-ray machine,
right,
to get on-site X-rays. That's basically what they're going to do, because you don't have the X-ray machine under that tent, right? So you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so if we deem it necessary to leave the tent, leave the sideline to go in, that's a higher level of care, basically.
Would there be, when you mention X-rays at the stadiums, NFL or high-level college, obviously they got X-ray machines there in these big-time stadiums. Would there be a house? What do you call the guy that reads the X-rays?
Radiologist?
Would there be a house radiologist, or can you doctors read enough for the quickness? How would that work?
So 95% of the sports medicine docs on the sidelines are orthopedic surgeons.
Okay.
And that's what we do every day, is we look at X-rays.
Okay. There you go.
We look for fractures, dislocations, abnormalities. And so for the acutely injured athlete, we'll read our own X-rays
and definitely be in the ballpark, really close in the ballpark. Yeah. Let me go back to Lagway real quick, Doc. You mentioned a moment ago, and I was saying ice, rice, this, that, ultrasound, and you said also stretching. Is there, if you've got a hamstring injury that you're coming back, can you overstretch? Is there a concern of too much stretching, or you got to back your patient up a little bit? Could the stretching pull it again? I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I know. The question is the stretch. Can you be detrimental by stretching too much to the injury?
That's what I'm asking.
I think it's so closely evaluated that I think stretching has to come at a certain time, and that's what we rely on the professionalism of the athletic trainer and the physical therapist to know really when that is, because they're with that athlete all the time. And so based on whether when they ice, how they warm up, when they use heat and all that, they'll institute stretching within that, but at the right time point to give them the best outcome.
Do you give will a doctor like you coming off of an injury, rehabbing a patient's injury, do you have to educate particularly a young guy like that? Hey man, don't do anything that you think is right on your own time without letting me know. Don't stretch your Achilles from a stair, or do you have to tell these patients, hey man, let us know before you do something and do some damage?
Not particularly, not nowadays. We don't have as many rogue athletes out there because we have, the availability of medical staff is a surplus nowadays compared to 20 years ago, and so or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So they come out knowing that we need to listen to the medical staff as to how you rehab a certain injury, what to do and what not to do. You got to listen to the medical staff on those fronts as well, because they're always, there was a time where the athletic trainer was only around for a certain amount of time. They weren't around all the time.
I remember that. Hey, trainer's going to be in Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Meet him at 2:00 in the. Yes.
And now they're around all the time. So they're there to answer any question, to give hands-on and all that. It's the doc that we come in for a training room or things like that, just to evaluate players that may have been injured during practice. And then of course we're there for games and after games and things like that. But there's a surplus of medical staff in most situations.
Can a patient rehab too much? Like a Lagway, I'm just using him as an example. If he's on ultrasound and massage, and the team medical staff has that mapped out, could a Lagway go, well, you know what? On my own time, I'm going to double that again. I'm going to get back quicker. Can you rehab too much?
With certain things, probably not. I mean, to heat and ice and stretch, probably not. But it's more the strengthening and doing drills and things like that, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna get out here and get after it, get on the field, do some extra routes or something like that, just to try to get back. That may be detrimental.
Yeah, a little bit. Doc, one final thing here I want to throw your way before we get out of here talking to Dr. Bates, as we do every Wednesday, from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Find out everything they can do in the ortho world at their wonderful website, se-ortho.com, se-ortho.com. The Georgia Bulldog running back position has been kind of snake bit all year. Mm-hmm. They had injuries last year. They had injuries going into the season. Etienne, the running back that came over from Florida, he hasn't played much. He's been injured. They're getting a running back, Roderick Robinson, I think is his name, big, highly recruited kid. He's been out since August. He had a nasty, severe turf toe, Doc, and I've never heard this. Explain, he had turf toe surgery, and he's coming back. It looks like he's ready to go. I've never heard, I know turf toe, and I've heard of that. Sure. Brent, you have as well. What is turf toe surgery? What are they doing in there? I've never heard of turf toe surgery.
Well, first you have to understand what turf toe is. And so turf toe basically is a sprain of the ligaments on the bottom side of the big toe.
Right.
We call it the MTP joint, the big toe there, by a hyperflexion or hyperextension of the toe pushing off on the turf or the grass or something like that. And it kind of sprains that area. And so there's different grades of that. There's kind of a stretching, which is a grade 1.
Right.
There's a partial tear of that tissue, which is a grade 2. And then there's a full tear of that, which is grade 3. And typically we reserve surgery for those grade 3 tears, but only really in high level athletes and in the chronic situation where somebody's not really getting better. All right. If you were to have a grade 3 tear of your MTP joint, your big toe, of a turf toe injury, the likelihood of you getting surgery without an enormous amount of time with trying to get the thing to heal and scar in on its own is very low. Okay. But this guy's trying to get back to play. And so,
right.
And so there is a surgical procedure that is done to try to repair that ligament. So you're trying to get soft tissue then to heal back down to the bone where it was torn off.
Ooh.
And that healing can take up to about 3 months, so 12 weeks or so. But then there's another month to 8 weeks where you need to kind of rehab and get stronger and all of that.
And that's about where he's at time-wise. I mean, this happened, I think, in August.
Weeks. Yeah, about four months or so. That's the average time it takes to get back to play.
Oh. I know that big toe, you don't really think about how it comes into play until you've got a little big toe bruise or a bruise or whatever. Man, that big toe is, I guess it's kind of like a thumb injury too, It's just, man, that thumb, I mean, your ring finger, your pinky finger is one thing, but boy, that thumb.
Oh, it is.
But that big toe, man, I've had a little soreness here and there over the years, and you go, ooh, my balance, my push off, and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly
got one more, Brett?
Yeah. Well, one quick one, Dr. Bates. How coveted a position is it to be the orthopedic surgeon for a high-profile college or an NFL team? Is that a decision strictly on the organization? Is that something that you tell somebody that you're interested in it? How does that work?
It's pretty complicated. Most of us, and what I think needs to happen is that we think of that type of job almost as a hobby. Because the time that you spend away from your office,
sure,
it doesn't make up for the loss that you have there. Now, it's a hobby and it's a marketing.
Sure.
There's
value.
Well.
There's marketing value to that.
There's certainly value. I don't know how you can evaluate that or assess that appropriately, but yeah. So that's the way I think about it.
Yeah.
And so but it's fun. It's fun to do.
Sure.
And to be around the guys and all that, and kind of taking care of those injuries. And if you're already going to be taking care of those injuries anyway, why not go and travel? But then it can, if you have a young family and you're doing a lot of traveling around the country and the world and whatnot, it can be a strain on the family as well.
I could see how, and I don't need to know numbers or anything. I can see how you would quasi lose money by spending so much time with the team, and you're probably getting a flat number, but you're so much time with the team. But yeah, you're right. You probably weigh the other, ROI, not just dollar bills, but ancillary dollar bills. Yeah, interesting. All right, Doc, I think that's about it. What about the last 2 weeks of the Gators, man? What about that rebound for Florida football? My God,
I didn't think I was going to see that this year, but
no,
definitely Lagway has been a spark.
Yeah, you may get some calls for some bruised egos from Seminole fans coming up Saturday night when Florida goes over there. I think Florida's going to have more fans in the stands than FSU.
Yeah, probably.
Their stadium
this year, right?
FSU stadium's under it's being renovated, so they only have 55,000. And a night game in Tallahassee, 2-9, and there's a good chance if Florida's winning big, it'll be about 30,000 Gator fans doing the Gator Chalk all night. I can see a lot of Knowles not making that drive over there.
Yeah.
Doc, that's a nasty night game drive home, win or lose. It's just a tough.
Boy,
Tallahassee's in the middle of nowhere.
Anytime driving on I-10 is nasty.
No doubt. That is a brutal drive, especially at night, especially if your team's 2-9, and you may get beat pretty bad by your rival. Who knows, though? Anything could happen. Thanks, Doc. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Doc.
Have a good Thanksgiving, buddy. Good Thanksgiving.
Too. Take care now.
Appreciate it. That's our buddy, Dr. Bates. Boy, he's a sharp dude, man.
He is.
He's a sharp dude. But as we go to break, and I'm not sure if you can hang around another second.
I can.
This doesn't matter, but I think there'll be more Gator fans in that stand.
I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Brent, let's go to break, but let's do some math. 55,000 due to renovation. They're 2-9.
Yeah.
The game's at night.
Right.
Tallahassee is nowhere near a big city. Everybody that goes to the game, obviously, Tallahassee feeds them some.
Yeah, sure.
Right? But Tallahassee's not feeding FSU 40,000 fans. So a lot of fans are driving from Jacksonville or Mobile or somewhere, right? Night game, good chance your arch enemy rival may put a knot on your head. I don't think a lot of Seminole fans are going to that game.
No.
Brandon, am I wrong? There
No.
may be 25, 30,000 Gator fans in the stand. There's
that would-
always 15 to 20.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of Gator fans tomorrow night after Turkey and watching a few games. Our buddy's going to turn to them and say, "Hey, I can get 3 or 4 to the game.
Yep.
Y'all want to go?
Yep.
Oh, sure."
And we live in an era where it's much easier to grab tickets.
Yeah,
We're an electronic
it
ticket era.
is.
20 years ago, you
Yeah.
had to physically,
Mhm.
hey, Joe's got 2. My buddy's
Right.
got 2, but you got to meet him at the 7-Eleven on,
Oh yes.
nowadays, dude.
Or,
You transfer tickets like that.
yeah, well, and the thing it is, well, I don't really want to sell them to those Gator fans.
Yeah.
but I need the money.
Yeah. And electronically,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know who it's going to.
No.
Right?
No,
You
not
put that
really.
on that, what do they call that, secondary market?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be curious. I don't know if they'll do a lot of shots, but I'll be curious, man. It could be a heavy, because, I've been to a million of those FSU games, Florida State in Gainesville and Tallahassee. FSU normally seats about 80.
Yeah.
And there's always 15 to 20
Right.
in an 80,
Mhm.
right? And the same way, FSU brings a lot to Gainesville,
Right.
but with it only seating 55,
I think the new stadium is going to be, or the refurbished stadium is going to be 70
a
something.
little bit less, yeah, because
Yeah.
they try and spread it out. But with it only being 55, a almost record-setting bad year for Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
A night game, Florida rejuvenated. Gator Nation wants to see Florida.
Oh yeah,
they know there's only one more game afterwards,
Yeah,
and then you're gonna
absolutely.
wait 6 months. I'm telling you, I think there'll be 25 to 30,000 Gator fans.
And to me, the excitement's going to be, and we'll know probably Monday night, half the bowl schedule at least.
Yes, we will.
And so we'll know where Florida's going.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Terry, if they're going to be in the state of Florida, if they roll it up on FSU, there would be
That's
a lot of interest to go to a bowl
A
game.
lot of interest for a bowl game. Florida will have a lot of people,
They will.
trying to. We want Florida. Hey,
Mhm.
Sankey, we want Florida.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
hey, bowl people, we
Hey,
want Florida.
Hey, Jacksonville, we want Florida.
And frankly, I can't think of a way right now that, and you know how preseason
Mhm.
prognostications are. July, August, I can't think of a way that DJ Lagway's not in everybody's top 5 Heisman. You got to throw somebody in there. You
Yeah,
gotta
oh
throw
yeah.
some- he'll be in everybody's Heisman.
Oh yeah. And look, if you're Jacksonville in the Gator Bowl, you can't turn Florida down, can you?
I've got buddies that are on the committee and
Mhm.
work for the Gator Bowl, and they told me 2 weeks ago before these two wins, they
Mhm.
were telling me if Florida can get eligible, basically we'll army crawl over glass to
Yeah.
Gainesville to
Yeah.
carry Florida and Lagway
Right.
to our bowl.
Well, and see, this is one of those situations. Instead of letting the SEC determine who's going to the bowls, they need to speak up and talk to somebody and say, "Look, we may
Yeah.
not get them, but once every
Yeah.
how many years can we do that?"
Yeah, and I heard the stat. I think it was 2011. Florida hasn't been to the Gator Bowl since 2011.
Yeah. Yeah.
A miserable. What was that? Ohio State, Florida,
Mhm.
miserable game. But
Mhm.
there was 50-something thousand.
Oh, sure they were.
You know.
Absolutely.
Let's take a break here. Come back. We're starting to land this plane on a Wednesday. Terry Norvelle, Brent Beard, and you. The Young and Norvelle Show continues right here on Action Sports Jacks from Twin Peaks, our Wednesday home at the intersection of Atlantic and Kernan.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jacks app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jacks Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Okay, we're starting to land the plane. 30 minutes left here on a Wednesday. Tomorrow, everybody's off. Everybody hopefully is going to have a fun, safe Thanksgiving Thursday. And then, yes, we are back on the air, the Young and Norvelle Show, on Friday. Normal show, 4 to 6. Look, Brent Beard, Terry Norvelle here. Looking forward to it Friday. The show will be on. We will be in the middle of, help me out, the 3:30 game is?
At 3:30 game is Egg Bowl.
The Egg Bowl, yeah. So we'll be in the middle.
Georgia Tech.
4 o'clock. We'll be in the middle of the Egg Bowl, which is 3:30, right? Kickoff.
Right.
The Egg Bowl, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and then we will go off the air, and within an hour or so, Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech will be more entertaining, but what do you think the mindset of Ole Miss is? They take on Mississippi State, not a great Mississippi State team, rivalry game. You could feel it. You could see it on TV. You could feel
the body language was
the life was sucked out of Ole Miss's football program in Gainesville Saturday. I could feel it.
I've got a friend who works the Ole Miss broadcast, and he texted me maybe an hour after the Gator game, and he said that was a soul-crunching loss.
Couldn't have said it better.
And it truly was, because look, they really thought this was it. They really thought that this was going to be the team that made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that they were going somewhere. And Lord, why not? I mean, but Terry, I mean, you were there. I mean, Lane, I'm not blaming it on Lane, but they made a lot of decisions in that game that just flat didn't work.
And a lot of those decisions were predetermined, but sometimes you got to read the room, read the
Mhm.
game.
Mm-hmm.
After at least after the second Pegues fourth
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
you kind of
right.
go get your points.
Yes.
You know, Florida showed a
Mhm.
propensity to. Florida wasn't losing the defensive line.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. They were getting a
Mhm.
stalemate at least.
Mhm.
And I mean, I know he made a couple, but that juiced Florida up.
Yeah,
Florida
did.
stopped because
Sure did.
Ole Miss. For people that don't know Ole Miss football, this year with the big defensive lineman J.J. Pegues, who comes in for short yardage, he scored a bunch of touchdowns. He was 12 of 12, I think, on coming in to
Right.
get the first down touchdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss is to college football this year what the Eagles are with that Hurts push.
Yeah.
It was almost undefendable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Florida, that juiced Florida early in the
Mhm.
game. When they
Mhm.
stopped him on the first try,
Yeah.
that wasn't the only impetus, but you could. They went, all right, hey, you want to do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. And Brent, getting back to what your friend said about the soul crushing, as the game played out in the stadium, I don't know how it felt on TV, but in the stadium, as the fourth quarter started, the game was tied at halftime. Florida muddled around in the third quarter. As the fourth quarter got started, and then Florida got in the lead, you could see the heart being pulled out of Ole Miss, and you were still thinking though, all right, they're still quasi lethal. Boy, they're a beautiful route away and a dart, no pun intended, from time to time.
Yeah.
But you could see that, man, I don't care how it happens. If Florida wins this game, it's going to pull the life out of Ole Miss. And it did. I
Yes.
stuck around in the press box. You know, you like to watch the festivities, and the Florida team goes to the band and they play the alma mater, and you saw the dunking. But you saw Ole Miss trotting off the field. Even their equipment people, they had to go back and get that basketball.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, I haven't seen it long. That program, anybody in that powder blue Ole Miss, they
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The body
I
language
mean,
is
they
awful.
were just that was a crushing. Now I spin that to what the hell do they? How do they get it back? How do they get off the turf, man?
I'm not sure they do this year. I mean, they'll beat State. I think they'll probably have a decent bowl game because look, I would bring them in, but I'll tell you what, their rushing attack really hurt them. Not having Henry Parrish, obviously, Judkins went to Ohio State. They're not using Ulysses Bentley much.
No.
I don't get that.
I don't either.
Frankly,
They ran Davis all day long.
Yeah, yeah. So, but
Judkins hurts them. He's a nice player.
Hurt them bad. He really did when we go to Ohio State. But you know, you would think, Terry, that does if the right job came up right now, would Lane leave?
Yeah.
But his daughter's there.
Yeah.
And at Ole Miss, and I mean, my story is he's making basically $10 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, how many other places can
Now,
pay you more than that?
I want to go back and defend Ole Miss a little bit. And Kiffin. Yes, they let a opportunity slip by, but I'm not so sure that that's about as high as the ceiling is for Ole Miss.
It very well could be.
I mean,
yes.
it's Ole freaking Miss.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Ole Miss. And I've
Mhm.
got some Ole Miss fan buddies, and I ragged on them pretty good. They smack talk all summer and all.
Yeah.
And I one buddy of mine, good friend, and I got on him pretty good. I said, listen, actually we were having a business meeting right here in Twin Peaks, August.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss friend of mine and business guy. Ole Miss, we're going to wear them out. We're going to go to the playoffs. Ole Miss, I can't wait to come to Gainesville. We're going to wear them out. Ole Miss football is better than Florida. Ole Miss football, the fans are this, and Ole Miss football that. And I bit my tongue. And it's part of an email I sent this week. As a matter of fact, I bit my tongue, and I heard this guy, and I sent him a text, and it said LOL to lead it off.
Yeah,
I'm just, it's only sports.
Mhm.
Don't lose friendship. But I go, blank, I can't say his name. At our lunch in August, I bit my lip. I heard you talk about Ole Miss and how good they are, and you talked about the Grove is the greatest, the fans are the greatest, the co-eds and the frat boys wear blazers and ties and old school and sundresses. I heard you, and I said, and I went on to say, I bit my lip, and you remember I bit my lip. I said this email, and I said, I wanted to tell you a few things, including Ole Miss hasn't won diddly beep in 65 years.
Yes.
Okay, Ole Miss,
Yes.
not Kiffin, hasn't won anything. Ole Miss hasn't won anything, and the Grove I've never been to. I hear it's the greatest tailgate. Tailgate, and I wrote this. Tailgates don't win football games.
They don't. No.
Frat boys wearing suits, old timey ties, and that doesn't win football games. Ole Miss hasn't won anything since Johnny Vaught.
No,
I'm not so sure. And Kiffin's a smart guy. Does he look around and go, getting the occasional 10-2 season is about the ceiling of Ole Miss?
It
and
is.
maybe if I want to win it all,
right,
he might. I think what he's done is miraculous.
No, I agree.
At Ole Miss.
I agree with that. And the miracle of it is the defense.
Sure.
And how well they played.
And he
with,
went out
with Pete
and
Golding.
he saw that.
He did.
He's been to 6 years now? His first 2 or 3 years of defense were putrid.
It was
They were as bad as old Vanderbilt.
It was like playing against air.
It really was. But you wonder if Kiffin's probably got one more big job in him, right? One more step.
Yes.
Right?
I don't think
and you fill in your thoughts here. I don't think Kiffin's a guy that goes, let me try that NFL one more time. I think he's a college guy now.
He is.
Do you think so?
Yes.
But is he a guy that says, let me go somewhere? I know he was at Tennessee, but let me go somewhere where I've got the same amount of bullets as the other. Ole Miss, you don't have the same amount of bullets in the gun. You have to really overachieve, wouldn't you say? When you knock off an Alabama, when you knock off an Auburn, a Florida, Georgia, you are doing it with less bullets.
And I don't know. We don't think about where would he go. I mean, he's not a fit at Penn State, or Michigan, Ohio State.
And it's got to be a here. It's not going to be an under. He's not going to play his way out of Ole Miss and go lower.
No.
So it's got to be a bit of a marquee.
Right.
And,
I agree.
And he can't go. I don't think if he goes, why would he go somewhere where he doesn't think he? Ole Miss, you just, and people may say, Terry, you know exactly. Ole Miss, you just don't have the infrastructure.
No, you don't.
You could stumble into something,
right?
But you can't infrastructure long term at Ole Miss. Would you agree with that?
You can put together a few good years, but you don't have 20 and 30 years of at least some kind of success with. No, you don't. And look, I mean, you've had what? Orgeron, you've had Houston Nutt.
And Nutt stirred it up here and there, and Orgeron stirred it up here and there a year, but you just don't have. It's Ole Miss.
Look, their best coach was probably Davey Cutcliffe.
Might have been,
and they fired him,
and they erroneously fired him. Way
absolutely,
early.
They did.
Kiffin, if he does go one day soon, stays in the SEC.
Oh yeah,
SEC guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
there's no question.
Go get. Remember, we were talking this show. We were saying Florida is the school in Florida. South Carolina is the school. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Neither one of them has a lot of panache. It's hard to say who's but he goes and gets one of those jobs. He had Tennessee, I get it.
Oh yeah,
and that was the wrong time. He was not ready for that job.
No.
But I could see Kiffin. It is. I think Arkansas is a step up.
Yeah.
They want to win.
Oh,
They've got more bullets in the gun.
Well, and
LSU.
And he thought about.
How about LSU? Brian Kelly gets out of there. He goes to LSU.
He thought about going to Auburn. But now.
I mean, Auburn, LSU would be two big steps up. And then he's in the tall cotton neighborhood, right? He's not losing to Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee because he doesn't have the infrastructure. If he's at LSU or Auburn, they want to win, and they can give you the tools to win.
He would be ultra dangerous at either LSU or Florida.
Agreed.
I mean, he would be lights out there.
We may go ahead and stretch this to the end of the show if that's okay. And not take our last break if you can hang out. Two thoughts. This may be the last crack at Kiffin, and it looks like Florida's not going to make a move. Right now, the feel good around Billy Napier. Be careful, Gator Nation, and I'm not going to take anything away from what he's done the last couple of years, but a couple of weeks. Napier has got work to do on Napier and the program.
Yes.
This is not a finished product.
Oh, no.
This is not the lights on. He's got to make some moves, make the right moves, and is he going to make the moves? Would you agree? Number one, number two, Lagway is far from a finished product. I mean, Lagway, I don't want to be Debbie Downer. He's a star in the making. He's going to be great.
There's no doubt.
He's far from a finished product. Lagway, I was at the last 2 games. I was in person the last 2 games.
Yes.
Lagway easily in both games could have thrown 3 interceptions.
Yeah, he could.
I mean, he's been late a little bit. He hadn't played much football, but he's Napier's far from a finished product, and Lagway's far from a, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, number one, what they can't do is they can't get overly excited if they drill Florida State and win a bowl game and give him an 8-year extension.
Oh,
but I'm telling you, that's what these schools do.
It is.
And you just can't do that because you don't. To your point, he is not a finished product, and he's still too stubborn. And I still say
he's got to show growth in the offseason.
For him to do what he needs to do, he's got to bring in an offensive coordinator.
Totally agree.
And let them do their job.
Totally agree.
And I still think it just as much he needs a special team coordinator to bring in.
Has to.
Because both, look, in particularly special teams, I would argue that's cost him, what, 3 or 4 games in his career in Florida.
At Florida, absolutely. And I think he's gotten bailed out at special. I think it could have been a lot worse. Now, did he go out and recruit these guys? I don't remember. I guess he did. I don't want to say stumbled, but I'm going to. He stumbled into one of the great punters in the country.
He did.
And one of the great place kickers in the country.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What if he had an average punter
and
an average place kicker?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that special teams issue would be glaring more.
And listen, how many games would Smack have won if they had not done, had some silly penalty like they did last year? So there's still plenty to do. But I'll say this, we will have, if they win the next 2, we will have, do you think, almost unparalleled excitement in the offseason from Gator fans.
We'll have more excitement than we've had in years.
Yes.
And nationally.
Yeah.
Nationally has already jumped on in the last 2 weeks. I mean, you turn on the national shows and they're going, wow, look at Florida. Look at the turnaround.
And I'm not trying to make this selfish. But for what you and I do, the better the teams in this state are, the better it is for what we do every day.
It don't stink. It doesn't. Go back though, and I don't want to be water on the party here, guy, but go back to the Ole Miss game Saturday and Florida / Napier. They had trouble. They really didn't seem like they knew how to close out the game.
No.
Florida
really did not.
Florida had 2 possessions.
That's right.
In the fourth quarter with 24-17 lead.
Right.
There was 6 minutes of change because I looked over when Florida got the ball. They're up 24-17. Yeah. They stop and get the ball.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself and talked to my neighbor in the press box. I said, here's where you go to they call it the 4-minute offense.
Yeah.
There was 6:23. Yeah. I go, this is your 4-minute offense. You piece together 3 first downs and you win the game. You finish the game.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Not only did Florida absolutely slash Napier shoot themselves in the foot on that possession, they got a second possession.
Yeah, they did.
And
they sure did.
They did nothing with it. And I don't remember if it was the first or the second one we're referencing. They also got a 15-yard horse collar. They did nothing for them.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
They did nothing. I mean, and I'm going to say Napier because I think the play is still some people say he's not calling the plays. All I know is the entire game he's holding a play sheet.
Yeah. Now I've heard Callaway is calling the plays,
but he's vetoing or not vetoing.
Sure he is.
There's no reason if he's not 1,000% involved in the plays. Why is he carrying the play sheet?
Well,
he never doesn't have his play sheet.
Let me ask you this: on one of those drives, on 3rd down. If they had tossed a little slant to the tight end, would he have been wide open over the middle?
Wide open, and he was doing his inside handoff, his inside handoff. He coached scared.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying triple reverse, double pass.
Right.
We chew him out when he does that. But he coached it. I will defend him. I had some of my buddies at halftime texting me, and I don't know if you remember how the half ended. It was tied up. Florida gets the ball. and they're around their own 45
Yes.
with a couple
Yeah.
timeouts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And a couple, and he sat on it.
Yeah,
like
he
he's
did.
done.
Yes.
I didn't blame him so much. I had buddies blaming him.
Right.
They were
Oh, I'm
texting
sure.
me while halftime was going on. My theory there was, you just played the top 10 team. It's tied at 17. At worst, go to the locker. You get the kickoff.
Right,
I think that was played. That was big.
Yeah.
Florida gets the kickoff to start the third quarter. That's why I go, okay, maybe you go for it a little bit, but if you screw up, you've worked awfully hard to at least be tied.
No doubt.
You had a push,
No
and
doubt.
you get the second half kickoff.
Yeah.
I was okay with that. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I really thought I was thinking about that too. I thought, well, now this guy's got an arm,
And the kicker's got a leg.
Yeah, he does. Do you throw a 25-yard out to the sideline?
If I did throw anything, it would have been deep. It would have been. If you pick it off, and we're going to tackle you.
Yeah.
But I was okay. That was one time I go, okay, using the scoreboard, it's tied, for God's sakes, and using we get the ball at half.
Yeah.
I could live with that. But, man, the end of the game, he could not figure out how to close the game out.
And listen, and I'm sure you wonder what in the world was. I mean, here's Ole Miss throwing, and the truth of the matter is, he basically threw 2 interceptions in a row. You remember that?
He really did.
Because one ended up out of bounds, and the other one actually was a real thing.
He really did. Well, you really wonder what he saw to throw the ball in that. That was triple coverage.
It was
in the end zone.
Yeah,
that wasn't. I've said this. That wasn't a physical bad throw. That was a terrible decision.
It was.
That was
Now here's the thing with them. If they can pull in a really good recruiting class, and that's happening, that's going to be huge because recruiting is a week from today. Signing day is a week from today. Terry, my concern would be, and I don't think he will, Lagway go somewhere else, or something, or they get a lot of off-season issues.
Yeah.
You and I both know Gator Nation is jumping on the bandwagon now. Or would they jump off?
Yeah, and Florida has been notorious for issues finding them.
Yes.
I mean, Florida.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't have a lot of smooth off seasons.
No.
Right?
No.
But this kind of feels different, doesn't it? It feels different the last few weeks.
And I'll tell you this too, there must not be. Now look, we don't know because we're not attorneys, but in this Todd Golden thing, they're okay. All we're doing is guess here. Well, we're not attorneys, but there's got to be enough evidence out there that UF has that's telling them that to relax on this. Otherwise he wouldn't be coaching, would he?
Unless they're scared of making the wrong move.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
they're proven wrong. It's
Yeah.
In a weird way, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that Will Wade stuff. That LSU sat on that. And
Right.
it was almost like were their attorneys saying, hey, man, if you pull the plug now, if he gets exonerated, we're in big trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So don't pull the plug down.
Right. And look, you remember for LSU, they had those Title IX situations with the players and women. And you know what? That got real quiet too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they swept it under the rug. I'm just saying that maybe there's this just a legal situation that's really complicated, and we won't know anything on these things for years.
We got 2.5 minutes, about 2 minutes. We can get into this Friday. Our next show will be Friday. We're off tomorrow, folks. Have a good Thanksgiving. Normal show on Friday here from Bricks. We'll get into this more, but gosh darn, if FSU, they're wrapping up a disastrous season. Their recruiting has gone absolute down the drain.
Yeah, right.
With that being the case, everybody's seen the season. Everybody's seen DJ, who might be the quarterback, who's coming back, it sounds like, DJ
When in the world would he come back?
What would make FSU think they're going to make waves in the portal? They made waves 2 years ago, but it was the program was shiny and pretty at the time.
Yeah, right.
I think Mike Norvell's up against it. Why are people going to quality players going to flock to FSU after seeing this, and DJU is going to be your guy.
His coordinator hires are going to be very important for him. And look, he's talking to coordinator from UNLV.
Okay.
Coordinator from also, I know a defense coordinator from SMU.
Okay.
And an offense coordinator from Tulane.
Okay. The first one you said from
at UNLV.
I've seen them a little bit. They have a fun offense.
They do.
They have a fun offense. And I think they gave Boise hell this year.
Yeah, they did. And listen, Tulane and SMU, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah. Wow. But man, you wonder, there is no juice around FSU football right now.
There really is.
And I think juice is what wins the portal.
Yeah,
I mean,
does.
guys that are signing with you in the portal, they're not going, well, coach, if you guys can get me in the weight room for a year, and then the second year I start learning the position and win it, and then,
Well, but see, Florida's got juice right now.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. All right, let's get out of here. Been a fun show. I want to thank everybody, Dr. Bates, Brent Beard, Zach Rothrock, for helping us out. We will take off tomorrow. Everybody have a safe, fun Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And right back on normal schedule Friday from Bricks 4 to 6. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in to the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports Jacks.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jack's Beach.
Since 1936, Procter Ace has been proudly helping Jacks with all your home and garden projects. Whether you need tools, paint, plumbing supplies, or expert advice, we've got what you need to get the job done right. Looking to brighten your yard? Visit our garden center for plants, tools, and everything to make your outdoor space flourish. You're not just shopping here, you're part of our community. So come in today and let us help you tackle your next project with a smile. After all,
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.